Salutations, and welcome to the next installment of my Halo Weapons tier list series. We've made it to Halo 3 ODST. At first glance, outside of the new ODST weapons, you'd think not much changed between this game and Halo 3. Believe me, that's not the case. The changes made to ODST's gameplay caused a ripple effect on the weapons sandbox. Because there's so many new factors to consider, the following introductory section will be quite long. While I still recommend you hear me out to better understand my reasonings for each ranking, the timestamp on screen will take you straight to the tiering process. As always, I rank weapons based on their overall consistency and effectiveness. I look at how well they do against the game's enemy roster, using their base attributes combined with the game's fundamental mechanics. I also look for how common they and their ammo are. I greatly favor versatility and a wide supply of ammo, so weapons that can take on as many enemy types as possible while being fairly common will be ranked higher than others. For ODST, we'll be doing things differently compared to my previous lists. The campaign list is based on a solo, legendary run, with no gameplay altering skulls enabled, and the starting mission is prepare to drop on a brand new save. Mombasa Streets has weapon lockers that become available after finding audio logs. These include suppressed SMGs and pistol resupplies, along with sniper rifles and rocket launchers depending on the locker. While Mombasa Streets is mostly skippable, there may be an instance where you're spotted, and you'll want the best tools for defending yourself. Something I realized when recording on the 360 version is if you start a new run on a profile that already beat the game and got all the audio logs, all the weapon lockers will automatically unlock after beating Teari Plaza. This does not happen on MCC, hence why I'm requiring a brand new save file to be considered for this list. The other major new addition is Firefight. This will have its own tier list. Firefight has different weapon availability compared to Campaign. Skulls are enabled, and they modify enemy behavior and health. Finally, Firefight enemies have 10% more health and shields and deal 5% more damage than in Campaign. Since Firefight is a cooperative mode by design, along with lives being a limited resource, I'll remove the single player only restriction I place on my campaign lists. MCC introduced a ton of new custom options for ODST's Firefight, including new weapons to use, new enemies to fight, and even a pair of allies on certain maps. These make MCC's ODST Firefight significantly different from the 360 version. While the Firefight list will center around the MCC version, I'm following some rules to have a bit of parity with the 360 version. For starters, the primary and secondary weapons must remain map default. Almost all the maps use Suppressed SMG primary and Suppressed Pistol secondary. Windward is an exception, using a sniper rifle primary for the initial spawn, then going back to the SMG on respawn. All player traits, including movement speed, health, jump height, ammo, etc., must remain normal. Boons add new weapon lockers to each map, and a pair of NPC allies depending on the level. After doing my research, I don't think they greatly affect the standard Firefight experience enough to warrant a boons version of the list, so they'll be allowed here. The enemies that spawn in each wave can be changed to whatever you want to fight, so the new enemy types introduced to MCC's Firefight will be factored in. This will be based on an endless run, just like the 360 version, so the Tilt, Famine, and Mythic Skulls that activate on sets 2, 3, and 4 will play a part in the rankings. Finally, I'm still using Legendary difficulty. You'll want to know the best tools for ODST's toughest challenge. Even if I were to use a lower difficulty, the viability would hardly change. The best and worst weapons for Legendary will still be that way for Heroic and below. I'll briefly explain each of the Firefight skulls. Tough Luck increases the evasion chance against certain projectiles and incoming vehicles. Catch drastically increases the grenade throw chance and the AI's grenade throw speed. Black Eye requires melee attacks to regain stamina. Famine decreases the ammo supply from weapons dropped by AI. Mythic doubles the AI's health and shield values. Finally, there's Tilt. I'm here to point out a falsehood about this skull. Tilt is supposed to double resistances and weaknesses. For example, shields take 50% extra damage from plasma weapons, and should be even weaker to plasma with Tilt. However, weaknesses and resistances are not doubled. Here's what actually happens. When Tilt is on, the game uses a new damage table entirely, and as you can see, Energy Shield Thin, the material Brute Shields use, still takes 50% more damage from plasma weapons. One new interaction is heavy explosions against solid armor. Damage using Explosion Large is neutral against targets with the hard metal solid material, but with tilt, hard metal solid gains a 50% resistance to these explosions. There are two damage types that do get stronger with tilt, and I'll talk about those later. ODST's enemy roster is mostly the same from Halo 3, but new ranks for existing enemies were added. The Engineer is a brand new enemy type, a support unit that gives shields to nearby allies. Firefight adds new enemies that don't appear in campaign, including elites, sentinels, and the Flood. The most important new change is the player character itself. You're an ODST now, and that comes with a whole slew of gameplay differences. Your movement speed is slower across the board, including running, strafing, and crouching. Grenades are lobbed instead of thrown like fastballs. The motion tracker was removed. Instead of shields, ODSTs use stamina, although to be fair, it's functionally identical to shields. Health no longer recharges like in Halos 2 and 3, requiring health packs to recover. ODSTs have 80 points in both shields and health. They're considerably tankier than a Halo 3 Spartan due to balancing around non-recharging health. Halo 3 ODST made two global damage nerfs after Halo 3. Melees now deal less damage, dealing 45 damage compared to the original 70. There's also a new melee mechanic, melee inhibit time. When the player takes damage that has the inhibits melee damage flag ticked, they cannot melee for nearly half a second. The main user of this feature is the brute melee attack. The other nerf involves bullet weapons. Not including vehicle weapons, they deal 50% less damage to energy shields. Finally, dual wielding is no longer possible, so weapons that used to rely on that can't anymore. All of these characteristics will be significant factors for the rankings. For those who sat through that TED Talk, thank you so much for listening and increasing my video's watch time metric. Let's finally start tiering. We'll begin with ODST's box art weapon, the Suppressed SMG. It deals 6 bullet slow damage per round at 15 rounds per second, using 48 round magazines while holding 192 spare rounds. It features a 2x zoom with a minimal spread of 0.25 degrees and a maximum of 5.5 degrees, taking 3 seconds of full auto fire to reach that max spread. It recoils with continuous fire. Projectiles travel at 400 world units per second, with a max range of 40 world units. The SMG synergizes greatly with the ODST player character. It kills most unshielded enemies quickly from a safe distance, assuming the user burst fires. More importantly, it strips the brute shields for the pistol, which the pistol can't do on its own. This is the intentional design of the SMG pistol combo, and it shines throughout the entire game. While the SMG isn't as good against shields as the plasma weapons are, its better ranged capabilities protect the user from CQB. It's arguably the best weapon to use against drones. The SMG's fast projectiles easily hit them, with unshielded ranks dropping in less than a second. It's also pretty good against hunters. If you can properly dodge their attacks, the SMG takes advantage of their 2x weakness to bullets slow, only needing a little more than a full magazine to take one down on Legendary. Ammo for the SMG is at every cache in Mombasa streets, and it appears at least a few times in every mission except Kikowani Station. That being said, the SMG only has 5 magazines to work with, so you only get so much time with it. The SMG is also outclassed as a shield stripper by plasma weapons at closer ranges, and they offer way more brute kills than the SMG. This weapon is a solid all-rounder, and I'll give it A tier. In Firefight, the SMG has the same viability against the existing cast pre-tilt. It's a starting weapon on 9 of the 10 maps, and has max ammo. The one exception, Windward, has the SMG as a primary weapon on respawn, and it's 1 mag short from max ammo. All Firefight maps have SMG weapon racks for resupply. This weapon is crucial for drone waves. It's really good against Flood combat forms, accurately hitting the infection form weak spot, while doing well against the Stalker and ranged pure forms. Like drones, the Sentinel matchup isn't bad either. It's the elite matchup that's fishy. The SMG needs more than a whole mag to break their shields. However, their health gets shredded by them, because they have less health than the brutes. The tilt skull severely hurts this weapon. It can no longer strip brute shielding, and even struggles against shielded drones. Even the Flood gain a 25% resistance to bullets slow when tilt is on. The Mythic Skull puts it out of a job, but getting to set 4 at all is a really good run. The SMG is also A tier in Firefight. The Tilt Skull really hurts it, but its usefulness against drones and even hunters can't be understated, and it's a decent alternative against unshielded enemies if you're trying to conserve pistol ammo. Speaking of the pistol, all it took was the Halo 2 pistol getting a scope for it to become one of the greatest Halo weapons ever made. It deals 6 points of bullet slow damage per shot. It has a 3x zoom and uses 12 round magazines while holding 60 spare rounds. It has perfect accuracy with no firing spread whatsoever. Its projectile velocity is 180 world units per second, and its max range is 40 world units. While I had a lot to say about the Suppressed SMG, the Suppressed pistol does not need a long explanation. It's a headshot monster, firing as fast as the user's trigger pull. The 3x zoom combined with 0 spread provides top tier precision at range. Funnily enough, the 3x scope is on a weapon with less range than the Carbine and Battle Rifle, which have 2x scopes. The pistol does meager body shot damage, and should never target anything other than heads. It'll need help against brutes and hunters, but the pistol synergizes so well with the sandbox that this is barely a downside. The Carbine is more versatile though, being a headshot weapon that is good against brute shielding, and it's pretty common in the campaign. That being said, the Carbine is a good partner for the pistol. The pistol takes care of the grunts and jackals, while the Carbine handles brutes. Like the SMG, it's at every weapon cache in Mombasa streets, and it's on every mission. The pistol is an easy S tier, one of the best weapons in the game. It's even better in Firefight. It quickly slices through grunt and jackal squads and finishes off brutes, and that's true for every set in Firefight. The Carbine may be stronger, but the pistol has the clear advantage for ammo availability. It's a secondary weapon on all maps. Pistol racks are on each level, and on respawn, they get another max ammo pistol. The tilt and mythic skulls are non-factors, since its job is headshots. It insta-kills flood combat forms when shot at the infection form region, but all other non-infection forms resist it hard. Sentinels are a no-go since they don't have headshot regions. It's alright for drone waves, but the SMG deals with them better. One minor downside is its max range. Most of the time, this won't matter as 40 world units is still pretty far. However, on Crater, it can't reach the Jackal sniper on the opposite side of the spawn area, so getting closer is required. You'll deal with this on maps with long sightlines too, like Lost Platoon and Security Zone. Despite the few shortcomings, there's no denying that the pistol is not only S tier, but the #1 firefight weapon in ODST. I've mentioned the Carbine in my pistol ranking, so it's up next. It's fundamentally the same as Halo 3's, but with 2 changes. Each shot produces recoil, and its damage was buffed to 12.5 per shot from the original's 10. The Carbine is absolutely phenomenal. Like the pistol, it's a precision weapon, but unlike the pistol, it properly damages brute shields, letting it do double duty as shield stripper and headshot killer. This makes the Carbine a solid partner for specialized weapons like the shotgun, Mauler, and Spartan Laser. They have specific targets they want to kill, while the Carbine has the versatility to kill the rest of the enemy cast. There's 2 points that make it the jack of all trades. It doesn't have the raw shield stripping capabilities of the Plaza pistol and rifle, and it does not share the pistol's precision, having a wide firing spread that makes it tough to kill faraway enemies. They're not the biggest handicaps though. Brutes don't have the toughest shields in the series compared to elites, and the Carbine is still accurate enough, especially at mid-range. The Carbine is arguably the most consistent chieftain killer. They have weak shields, and their helmets are easily shot off by the Carbine rounds. I'd say the biggest downside is ammo availability. It's not uncommon in campaign, especially on Mombasa streets. It's also common on Tayari Plaza, Data Hive, Kikawani Station, and New Mombasa Police Department headquarters. However, there will be stretches of time where Carbine ammo is scarce, so use it tactfully. It's S tier and the #1 weapon in campaign. The Carbine's unsurprisingly amazing in Firefight, for all the same reasons it is in campaign. It retains its brute shield stripping ability when tilt is on, making it extremely valuable. It's even good for drone squads when tilt is on. Drone captain's shields heavily resist the SMG, but not the Carbine, and drones are vulnerable to headshots. It's also great for combat forms, sentinels, and especially elites, with majors and spec ops dying to 14 shots on legendary. That being said, there's issues that work against the Carbine. While tilt gives the Carbine a solid niche, body shots become weaker. There's two areas where this matters. Shielded Jackals don't ping with a single shot, and Chieftain helmets become harder to shoot off. Ammo availability is even more inconsistent in Firefight. It's at its most common during the first wave of each round, when only Grunts and Jackals spawn. For every Jackal squad of 4, one of them is a Carbine Jackal. However, it's random whenever you get a bunch of Jackals or Grunts in this wave, determining how much Carbine ammo you get. Brutes have a chance of using it too, but it's pretty rare compared to the Spiker and Brute Plasma Rifle. Everyone wants to use this weapon, so in co-op, sharing Carbine ammo can be difficult. This gets worse when Famine is on, with even less ammo to go around. With Mythic and Famine on, it's the end of the road in my opinion. Not only is ammo scarce, but Brutes just become too spongy for this weapon. Better shield strippers are more desirable at this point. The Carbine is still S tier, just not the number one weapon in Firefight. We segue from amazing weapons to one of the worst, the Assault Rifle. It's unchanged from Halo 3, and that's the problem. The AR has not adapted to ODST's new climate. Bullet slows 50% effectiveness to shields, and Brute Hide make the AR crap versus Brutes. It needs more than a whole mag just to take the shield out. It's decent against Grunts and Jackals, but so is the SMG, which has a larger magazine, is more accurate, has way faster projectiles, and has a higher DPS. The AR is worse than the SMG in every way. It has no reason to exist other than being window dressing for Marines and Buck, because Bungie knew we wouldn't use it unless it was a forced starting weapon. It pains me to say this as a Halo 3 Assault Rifle fan, but it's Y tier. It should have gotten a damage buff to differentiate itself from the SMG, but alas. It's even worse in Firefight. To get it, you either need boons on or have Flood spawn. There's typically one AR rack available with 4 on it, with an extra on Lost Platoon that has 2 more. You could say the Assault Rifle is decent in the first set as an SMG alternative with a ton of reserve ammo, but the SMG is not only a starting weapon, but also has 2 ammo racks available. The SMG also has the advantage of being better from a distance, which is where you'd rather be than up close, especially when the catch skull is on. It's also Y tier in Firefight. What a tragedy. The Plasma Pistol is up next. It too is unchanged from Halo 3, but it's amazing in this game. I considered Halo 3's Plasma Pistol pretty redundant, since Brute shields were not tough to break. Things are different in ODST, and weapons that break shields are sought after. The Plasma Pistol's overcharge instantly destroys Brute armor, leaving them vulnerable to headshots. ODST gave the Plasma Pistol a new role as well, being the best anti-engineer weapon. One overcharge initiates the self-destruct sequence, instantly putting it out of commission. It's the most common enemy weapon in the game, with Grunts, Jackals, and drones all using it. The Plasma Pistol EMPs vehicles, and with the power drain no longer usable, it's the only source of EMP in ODST. This is helpful with the last Wraith on Consingo Boulevard in particular. The Plasma Pistol is S tier. Noob combo is extremely powerful in ODST, especially now that engineers are one-shot by overcharges. The Plasma Pistol in Firefight is even more valuable. On maps that feature engineers, being able to instantly kill them is a powerful niche. It's also the quickest way to take out elite shields, since they have stronger shields than Brutes. Almost every wave in the game, outside of pure Brutes, Elites, and Sentinels, will have Plasma Pistol users. Since they're so common, Famine doesn't even affect it that much, since you can't walk a couple of feet without walking over another Plasma Pistol. If you think Sentinels are weak to Plasma Pistol overcharges like in Halo 2, they're kinda not. Instead of dying, they're stunned and fall to the ground. It's not great against most Flood, but the shielded combat forms don't like facing it. The Tough Luck Skull can make hitting overcharges difficult. The Catch Skull overrides this. Brutes and Spec Ops elites get stuck in their grenade throw animations, making them vulnerable to charge shots. The Plasma Pistol is also S tier. That engineer killing niche is extremely important on maps they're featured in, and insta-breaking Brute armor will always be a good trait. The Brute Plasma Rifle is just a reskin of Halo 3's Plasma Rifle, but that's enough for it to be one of the best weapons in ODST. It's a great shield stripper, taking Brute shields out in just a few shots. It has enough heat control to make multiple Brutes berserk before overheating. It kills unshielded targets too, melting Grunts and Jackals with ease. Shooting Brutes a few times could put them in melee kill range, and the lower ranking brutes just die to enough plasma shots. It's even an amazing hunter killer. Like Bullet Slow, Plasma Slow has a 2x multiplier against hunter worms, so you can kill hunters very quickly as long as your shots land. It's not as great against engineers as the plasma pistol, but it's still a solid choice for them. If you tap fire the trigger, you can force the brute plasma rifle to fire faster than normal. It's among the most common brute weapons alongside the spiker, and its battery offers 400 shots, making this weapon a workhorse for any legendary run. The main downside is its limited range. Projectiles travel slowly in the air, requiring shot leading even up close. The plasma rifle is S tier alongside the plasma pistol, an amazing weapon that's both versatile and ammo efficient. For firefight, both the red and blue plasma rifles will count as one weapon, as they perform the exact same. The plasma rifle is just as impactful here. It's common on brute and elite waves, and pre-tilt, not only are they good shield strippers, but solid unshielded killers too, especially hunters. They're good against engineers too, but take noticeably longer to break their shields in a plasma pistol overcharge. The tilt skull both helps and hurts this weapon's viability. Bullet weapons struggle to break shields, needing the plasma rifle's help. On the flip side, plasma can't damage health as well anymore, so the human weapons step in for that. Like the plasma pistol, the famine skull doesn't hurt the plasma rifle that much considering how common it is and how strong their batteries are. Things get dicey with the mythic skull, but it can still put in work as a shield stripper, especially during the pure brute waves that lack grunts, jackals, and drones. The plasma rifle is also S tier in firefight. Its ability to kill unshielded enemies gets taken away with the tilt skull, but its prowess as a shield stripping menace is highly important against Firefight's tougher enemies. The Needler's Super Combine requirement was increased from Halo 3, up to 12 from the original 8, but none of its ammo values increased along with it. This makes the Needler strictly worse than its Halo 3 predecessor, but still a solid weapon. It not only kills every non-chieftain brute with one Super Combine, it's one of the fastest brute killers in the game. All of the positive traits it had in Halo 3 are still present. It has fast projectiles, the quickest reload in the game, and it's a common weapon in enemy hands, with even some brutes using it now. Engineers are killed by 2 Super Combines too, being the second best option for them behind the plasma pistol. It pairs well with the pistol, which takes care of the grunts, jackals, and other unshielded enemies, while the Needler handles brutes and engineers. Every kill requires more than half a magazine of ammo, and if you're on the last mag and have less than 12 needles, you're basically out of ammo. Using the Needler on anything that isn't a brute or an engineer is not recommended. I'd say the Needler is B tier. I was expecting a lot worse going into this tier list, but it's still pretty good when used to its strengths. The Needler has a funny relationship with Firefight skulls. Tough luck makes everyone dodge more, but the catch skull reverses this weakness. Brutes throw grenades more often, and that means getting stuck in grenade throw animations over and over, leaving them vulnerable to super combines. It helps that the Needler is quite common in Firefight, with grunts and drones using it a lot. Super combines one-shot elites, sentinels, and all of the Flood except the tank forms, which need 2 for a kill. The Needler still has the unique ability to nullify carriers, killing their infection forms before they disperse. It's also really good for jump pack brutes. Their flight paths are predictable, making them the easiest targets for this weapon. The Famine Skull can be dire for the Needler at times, but with it being so common in grunt and drone waves, it's usually not an issue. The Mythic Skull makes brutes survive a super combine though, needing 2 for a kill now. I think the Needler is also B tier in Firefight. I was genuinely surprised. Not even a nerfed super combine requirement could stop this beautiful monster. The Brute Shot is up next. It's mostly the same from Halo 3, but its melee type, Slice Melee, was nerfed from 90 damage to 60. Against brutes, you need a lot of prior damage to kill with melees. The Hunter matchup is notable. Melees do double damage to them, and the grenades can break the back armor, allowing easier access. Double damage for grunts and jackals is nice too, but you're better off just headshotting them from afar. I'd say the Brute Shot's niche is not for its melee damage, but its strong grenades. When brutes bunch up, the area of effect can break multiple shields in quick succession. Jackals are 2-shot, and phalanxes are disrupted by the grenades. The Brute Shot is also good for turrets, especially the side plasma turrets on Phantoms. All of these positives would matter more if Brute Shot ammo wasn't so random to come across. ODST introduced the squad template tags. These are preset squad configurations, so mission designers didn't have to keep recreating the same squad types over and over. These typically have multiple weapons included in the initial weapon table, randomizing what enemies spawn with. This unfortunately makes the Brute Shot an inconsistent encounter in ODST. Despite the fact you're in ODST, your fellow human allies cannot accept your Brute Shot if you try to give it to them. It's a shame because it would have been really good support. It's C tier. The melee damage nerf combined with its scarcity really hurts this weapon, but the great shield damage against multiple brutes, while being good against jackals and plasma turrets, don't make it the worst thing in the world. The same issues it faces in Campaign are only amplified in Firefight. Not a lot of brutes carry it, and those that do only drop a handful of ammo. It's alright for black eye waves since it'll insta-kill grunts, jackals, and drones, do a lot against hunters, and do marginally more to brutes in standard melees, but most of the time it's not worth it. It's actually pretty good against the Flood though. Brute forms start carrying it on round 2, and the grenades and melee attacks are strong against every form. Even tank forms are one shot with a melee to its mouth weak spot. It's also C tier for Firefight, mostly for its Flood matchup. It has good qualities for standard Firefight, but it's simply too rare. I made fun of the Spiker's boosted melee damage in Halo 3. Standard melee attacks did 70 damage, while the Spikers did 72 damage. It dealt double damage to grunts, jackals, and hunter worms, but so did the Brute Shot, and its melee attack was stronger. However, the Spiker's melee is still 72 damage in ODST, making it the stronger melee option than the fucking Brute Shot. What? This was most likely an oversight, but I like to believe this was bungle propaganda. Its melee still deals double damage to the aforementioned targets. The consistent firing cone makes shooting hunters in the back pretty easy, and they'll die quickly to spikes and melee. Against brutes, it's Halo 3 tier melee damage. Really good, although the shields do have 50% resistance against spikes. You can get around this by spamming the trigger, making the Spiker fire faster, as well as utilizing grenades to weaken shields further. The best way to take advantage of the boosted, okay this isn't a joke anymore, melee damage is to chip enemies with spikes as you charge towards an enemy. This gives the Spiker a unique advantage over the other CQB options in the game, as most of them can only do well at point blank range. It's one of the most common brute weapons in the game, almost guaranteed to be in every squad featuring brutes. While the Brute Plasma Rifle doesn't have boosted melee damage, it strips shields faster and is okay versus brute health, allowing for melees to kill after enough damage. The Plasma Rifle mostly outclasses the Spiker, but one brute rank the Spiker handles better is the Chieftain. Their health has a 65% damage resistance to plasma, but takes full damage from spikes, letting it reach the melee kill threshold sooner. The Spiker has the issue of slow projectiles, so close quarters is the best area to use this. Ultimately, while CQB is not the place you want to be, the Spiker is a sleeper pick for this scenario and will go at the top of C tier. The Spiker is underrated in Firefight as well. It's a good choice for black eye rounds, and for the first set, it's decent against brutes on its own. It'll need help when tilt comes on, but now that the Plasma Rifle can't do good health damage, that's when the Spiker comes in to slice up the brutes. It's also great for the Flood, with melee attacks being strong against tank forms just like the Brute Shot. Famine doesn't hurt the Spiker as much as it's a common drop. Once again though, it's better to take enemies on from far away, and the Spiker is mostly CQB, but it's one of the better options for this role. It's also C tier in Firefight. The Mauler is up next. This shares the same melee damage as the Spiker. The Mauler itself is great at the shoot and melee combo, but not as good against brutes as it was in Halo 3. The availability greatly improved in ODST though, appearing as early as Terrari Plaza and commonly seen by brute bodyguards and stalkers. It's arguably better versus hunters than the Spiker, with the shoot and melee combo really messing them up. The Mauler's biggest problem is only working at really close range. This limits what weapon partners work alongside it. The pistol needs help from other weapons to take out brute shields, and the Mauler can't do that from beyond point blank. I'd say it's on par with the Spiker in C tier. In Firefight, it starts appearing on boss waves, used by brute bodyguards protecting chieftains. Brute stalkers use the Mauler on round 2, and they only use the Mauler, so that'll mean a ton of ammo for this weapon. Tilt severely weakens the brute matchup, but it'll still be great for hunters and other unshielded enemies. I'd be careful when the catch skull is on. Since you have to be so close to enemies, you're highly vulnerable to either getting stuck or succumbing to explosive chain reactions. It dominates the Flood. Unshielded combat forms are one shot to the infection form region. If you kill a carrier form, then shoot as it releases the infection forms, you'll kill all those popcorn Flood. Melee attacks insta-kill every Flood form, including the tanks when aiming for the mouth. The Stalker combat forms exclusively use the Mauler, just like their non-flooded counterparts. The only bad Flood matchup is the ranged pure form from far away, but if you close the distance, they'll die. The Mauler is also C tier for Firefight. It's a CQB weapon in an anti-CQB game, but it at least has positive traits that come from its melee attack and common ammo supply. Continuing our streak of CQB weapons, we have the shotgun. The shotgun is just bad. It's the worst CQB weapon in a game that hates CQB gameplay. Like the Mauler, point blank is the only place it can operate. It's stronger than the Mauler but has worse range, a slower reload, and has weaker melee attacks. There is exactly one thing the shotgun has going for it. It can two-shot hunters in the back. Spoiler alert, the rocket launcher can also two-shot hunters, regardless of where the rockets hit. At least on Tiare Plaza, there's no rockets, so the shotgun is uncontested there. It also appears on Oni Alpha Site, Kikowani Station, NNPD HQ, Data Hive, and Mombasa Streets. It has a noticeably large presence on Data Hive, and is the shotgun's best level. Ammo is everywhere, and the tight corridors are beneficial to its playstyle. That being said, even on Data Hive, sticking to headshot weapons is the better strat, but the shotgun can help save pistol ammo. It's just so mediocre on every other level. The shotgun is D tier. I almost put this in Y tier, but what saves it is a hunter matchup on Tiare Plaza, and its performance on Data Hive. It's a pickup on two maps, Windward and Alpha Site. The hunter-killer niche actually matters more in Firefight. The hunters are more common in this mode, and when tilt is on, the shotgun retains its two-shot kill against them. Rockets, however, kill in 3 shots when tilt is on, and that's not enough to kill 2 hunters with a default starting ammo. Using the shotgun for specifically hunters lets you save rockets for chieftains and large enemy squads. Don't bother with elites and sentinels, but the shotgun is pretty good against Flood. Until tilt is on, then it's crap. The shotgun is a generous D tier in Firefight. The Gravity Hammer is next. It's the same as Halo 3's, but I have issues with its availability and playstyle. Don't get me wrong, the Gravity Hammer is really strong against everything in the game, but with it being a close range only weapon, along with its infrequent appearance, I struggle to find reasons to use it. So much can happen to you up close, whether it's getting stuck by grenades or being flung around by brute melees. It doesn't help that the ready up time is the slowest in the game, meaning you'll need to find cover to safely switch. Its appearances are also very unfortunate. The first is directly before the turret sequence on Oni Alpha Site, which features suicide grunts and large brute squads attacking from multiple angles. The next 4 hammers appear at the end of their respective levels. The second hammer on Oni Alpha Site, the Kikowani Station hammer before the Scarab fight, the Data Hive hammer before seeing Virgil, and the Coastal Highway hammer in the last encounter of ODST. It's not the worst weapon to use, there's just better things you could be doing. I'm giving it D tier. In Firefight, its biggest problem is availability. In standard Firefight, it's only found in the Chieftain boss waves, but it's not guaranteed. Some rounds just don't have hammer chieftains. To make matters worse, the round after the first boss wave enables catch, and grunts and brutes will just start nade spamming. The hammer benefits from Black Eye, restoring stamina with successful hits. The hammer can take out large squads of grunts and jackals with one swing, but like I said earlier, the catch skull makes this risky. It's great for Flood too, since none of them use grenades anyway. Combat forms explode from hammer swings, and it does great damage to tank forms. The Gravity Hammer is slightly better in Firefight, and is a C tier option. Our final CQB weapon is the Flamethrower. It only appears on Data Hive, and the tight corridors synergize well with this weapon. All that's needed to kill something is a single trigger pull. Flames attach to Covenant more consistently and kill them faster than Halo 3's Flood, and they won't charge the player when set on fire, panicking instead. Flames also spread to nearby enemies, killing them instantly too. The Flamethrower is so fuel efficient that you can kill almost everything else on the level and still end Data Hive with around 40 to 60% fuel left. The only area the weapon will struggle is the bugger nest, but the Carbine will carry this area as you haul the Flamethrower through it. The turn speed penalty controllers have does not apply to a mouse, making the Flamethrower extremely powerful with mouse and keyboard. The keyboard offers more consistent diagonal movement too, closing the distance to targets sooner. The third-person camera is a notable strength all support weapons share, allowing the user to look around corners to see which direction the enemies are facing. The Flamethrower is A tier. It's the best CQB weapon in the game, not suffering from the issues the other CQBs do. It's a boon weapon in Firefight and spawns on Chasm 10, Daytime Crater and Rally Point, and Oni Alpha Site. When used on mouse and keyboard, this thing is nuts. Entire squads are incinerated. Enemies move on mostly set paths, blindly running into fire and dying. Flames stick around for a while too, which is a good way to get kills while idle. The best way to use the Flamethrower is to shoot small bursts around corners, going back to cover while the fire does the work. If used efficiently, there's more than enough fuel to last a whole round. The best part about the Flamethrower is how unbothered it is by the tilt skull. It still melts shields and health alike, even being useful during the mythic round. The catch skull can be daunting though, and it doesn't provide stamina recharge when Black Eye is on. Elites are just as susceptible to fire as brutes, and chieftains hate facing this thing. Just watch out for invincible hammer chieftains. Drones, sentinels, and hunters are the Flamethrower's worst matchups. You'll struggle to face the airborne enemies when they attack from above, and the hunter armor is immune to fire. I'd say Chasm 10 is the Flamethrower's best map. If you hang around the spawn room, enemies are forced to funnel through the two doors, making them easy prey. It also forces drones and sentinels to be ground level, flipping a bad matchup into a favorable one. It's the most ammo efficient weapon for engineers, draining their shields with one trigger pull. It also helps that the rocket launcher spawns in the starting area, giving you a weapon for hunters. Oni Alpha Site is the second best. It's easy to camp the elevator, peeking around the entrance to kill nearby enemies. The one issue with this weapon is you're vulnerable to drones and sentinels attacking you from above. Rally Point is the third best map. Camping the two doorways is the best bet, but sometimes you'll be overwhelmed by chain reaction explosions. Enemies often wait outside the building too, making you vulnerable to the Wraith. Crater is the worst Flamethrower map. The spawn room is not the best holdout area since enemies are less likely to go in there. The Jackal snipers are unreachable threats too. If Chasm 10 was the only map the Flamethrower spawned on, I'd give it S, but I'll settle for A, averaging out its performance on the other maps. Alright, let's get out of close quarters, starting with the sniper rifle. It was nerfed and buffed in ODST. It suffers from the same bullets versus shield damage nerf, but it does way more damage per shot, now 120 from Halo 3's 80. This makes it deal 60 damage to brute shields, a 2 to 3 shot kill depending on the rank. The body damage is insane. All grunts and jackals are one-shots, and most brutes die to at least 2. Even the hunter matchup is better. It's a 3-shot kill in ODST compared to Halo 3's 4-shot kill. It's the best weapon in Mombasa streets, especially for taking out jackal snipers and staying far away from brutes. The lockers give you a ton of sniper ammo that resets with the end of a story mission. On Kazingo Boulevard, it's useful for taking the Wraith Gunner out to more safely approach it with a Plaza pistol. On Oni Alpha Site, it's good for the brutes. Most notably, it's a starting weapon on New Mombasa Police Department HQ, and there's a ton of ammo throughout the mission. I'm giving the sniper rifle S tier. Sadly, it's not the same story for Firefight. While it's really good during the first set, the tilt skull weakening shield damage is a damning weakness. Brutes just shrug off shots, especially the upper ranks. It still has a niche for the chieftains. When tilt is on, the Carbine does less health damage and therefore struggles to take the chieftains' helmets off. The sniper's still strong enough to do this easily. It's also a great grunt squad cleaner, piercing through multiple grunts per shot when they bunch up. Same applies to the brutes when they move in single file lines. The sniper spawns on every Firefight map except Windward, with your starting sniper being the only one on the map. This actually makes the sniper rifle pretty bad on Windward. Not only are the sight lines not that long to begin with, but in order to keep this rifle, you have to juggle it around and find the sniper mags on the map. If you leave it alone or drop it when it's out of ammo, it'll despawn. It's decent against elites and sentinels before the tilt skull, and sucks against the flood. I'm giving the sniper rifle B tier for Firefight. The skull modifiers turn a monster into a niche pick. I'd still recommend its usage, but it needs help in the later sets and its ammo supply is more finite than others. The other sniper weapon is the beam rifle. It's the same brute killing machine it was in Halo 3. Sniper jackals are noticeably more common in ODST, especially in Mombasa streets. There isn't much else to say that hasn't already been said about the sniper rifle. It's not as good for body shots as its human counterpart, but it's still an amazing option that appears frequently. I'll give it A tier for campaign. It's actually pretty interesting in Firefight. Beam rifle jackals have a chance to spawn on the third round of each set, and appears as hazards on Daytime Crater. This makes it pretty rare in standard Firefight, sometimes not spawning at all in those third rounds. This is the beam rifle's biggest weakness. You'll go through whole sets never seeing it, and it sucks when it first appears on the Famine set, when it has less ammo. The only way to get one from the crater hazards is to rocket the jackals down, but it doesn't always work. That being said, the beam rifle has an important niche. It's a sniper that's good against shields when tilt is on. While it gets even worse for body shots, it's a headshot weapon, so it doesn't matter. The beam rifle is B tier. It would be an A tier if it was more common, but it being a third round exclusive hurts it. The machine gun turret has a very small presence in the campaign, with Oni Alpha Site's holdout section as the main showing. It also appears on Uplift Reserve, but there's zero reason to use it. It's on New Mombasa Police Department headquarters during the Pelican defense, but there's much better options available. Despite the shield damage nerf, it's still strong against brutes, especially their health. Being on the tripod can be dangerous due to grenades, but before the turret breaks off, it's a source of infinite ammo. I'll give the turret C tier. It's pretty good during Oni Alpha Site, but it's unremarkable everywhere else. The turret is on every Firefight map except Windward, Lost Platoon, and Alpha Site. Chasm 10's notable for not only having 4 turrets, but the upper 2 are the safest turrets to use for solo play. There's no phantoms to worry about, and enemies spawn far away from you. Using the turret is a great way to preserve ammo. However, the tripod can be hazardous. Maps with phantoms will melt you, flanking enemies will exploit your limited turn angles, and grenades threaten to blow you up. The tripod is better suited for co-op. Your teammates can distract enemies for the turret user. If you can sidestep hunters with a turret, it's very strong against them too. The turret doesn't appreciate the skulls though. Your slower speed, even when factoring in diagonal movement, makes you vulnerable to catch skull grenade spam. It can't regenerate stamina when Black Eye is on. For Firefight, the machine gun turret is B tier. It'll help you save ammo for your other weapons and it's really strong. It just has glaring weaknesses that are exacerbated by the skulls. Another turret weapon is the plasma cannon. It's unique because its plasma vehicle damage model received a 25% damage penalty to shields in ODST, but still does full damage to their health. This puts the turret's power level slightly worse than the machine gun turrets overall. That sounds bad until you realize how common the plasma turret is. Every Phantom drop offers 2 full battery plasma turrets when you destroy their tripods. The tripod versions are on the ground a lot too, on Mombasa streets, Tiari Plaza, New Mombasa Police Department HQ, and Coastal Highway. They're also on Uplift Reserve and Kazingo Boulevard, but you drive past them. The plasma turret's unique property of damaging hunters through their armor is still intact in ODST, so if you don't want to do the hunter tango that much, this can make the fight easier for you. There's not much else to say. It's a slightly worse machine gun turret, but it's significantly more common, and for that, it'll be B tier. It's also good in Firefight. You're guaranteed 4 plasma turrets from each Phantom reinforcement on all maps except Chasm 10, and after that, they'll be used by chieftains. It's really strong in the first set, however, the tilt skull changes things. I mentioned how tilt actually doesn't increase weaknesses across the board, but the plasma vehicle damage type gets stronger versus shields, going back to full damage against them. Most health materials now resist it though, with brutes taking half damage and grunt and jackals 25%. The elite and sentinel matchup actually get better with tilt, funnily enough. While most health types resist the plasma turret when tilt is on, hard metal thin does not, taking full damage from it. This makes it one of the few anti-tilt elite options that is not just noob combo. Sentinels can still be scary when a bunch are targeting you, but you just shred them now, and that's great for ammo preservation. The most hilarious part is now you deal more damage to chieftains, since they use hard metal thin as well. I'd say the plasma turret is A tier in Firefight. While its UNSC counterpart is the better health shredder, The plasma turret has cool niches when tilt comes on, and the turrets on Phantoms are not affected by famine. The missile pod is a tricky weapon to rank due to its one-time appearance on NMPDHQ. On its mount, it has infinite ammo, and that's crucial for dealing with the numerous Banshees, which are two-shot by the missiles. It sucks when the Banshees are not within your line of sight, but thankfully there's a few standalone missile pods to deal with them. Off the base it's much less exciting, only holding 8 shots. Banshees often dodge the missiles, which is not an issue when you have infinite ammo, but is annoying when you don't. The missile pod can lock onto Phantom turrets as well, making it a good option for them. You can use a missile pod on infantry, but you're better off just using the rocket launchers that are available. I struggled with ranking this one, and just threw it in B tier. It's the best option for the Banshees, and not much else. In Firefight, Windward is the only map that has missile pods. Occasionally, an enemy Banshee spawns to harass players, and destroying them is the main job for this weapon. Tough luck can make this a bit tricky, but you'll eventually kill it. It's unfortunate when the base is destroyed, removing an infinite ammo supply, but the missile pod has a hidden tech in this mode. It's a good chieftain killer. The missile pod is an alternative to the rocket launcher that takes advantage of Windward's spawn room. Enemies are funneled in straight lines, making it easier for shots to land. Since there's 2 missile pods on Windward, this gives you 16 missiles to kill high value targets with. You can use the rocket launcher earlier in the round against hunters, while saving the missile pods for chieftains. The missile pod is underrated and I'll give it B tier for Firefight. Definitely try using one in the spawn room, you'll be surprised. The Booger launcher is up next. Its biggest strength is how often it appears, especially on Kikowani Station and Coastal Highway. On both missions, you could stockpile field rod ammo to the max. It's great for decimating large grunt and jackal squads, and brutes are 2 or 3 shotted depending on the rank. It's also the best phantom killer in the game, which is useful on NMPDHQ. It cannot destroy the last phantoms on Coastal Highway though, since they're scripted to be indestructible, but the turrets can still be destroyed. The fuel rod is a solid A tier, being a common heavy explosive weapon. It's even more common in Firefight. It initially comes for brute chieftains, with grunts also carrying it from round 2 till the set's end. As expected, it destroys everything unfortunate enough to cross its path, including hunters, and is solid for wraiths and phantom turrets. The tilt skull makes the fuel rod slightly weaker against brutes, hunters, and wraiths, but the nerfs against both are not too drastic. The bonus round spawns a lot of fuel rod grunts, letting you stockpile ammo. The fuel rod is A tier in Firefight as well, a very common explosive weapon that does not get much worse as the match progresses. The rocket launcher is, in theory, the opposite of the fuel rod. It's a heavy weapon that is scarce on ammo, but there's ways around this. Kazingo Boulevard only gives you 2 rockets, but you can give it to an ally and they'll have infinite ammo. If they die while holding it, it'll drop more ammo than the launcher came with. You can also give it to Dutch, who never dies. It appears on NMPDHQ during the Pelican defense and is great for killing phantoms and the reinforcements. This is the second supply cache weapon on Mombasa streets, but you'll need to find more than half of the audio logs to unlock the first rocket cache. This is why I mentioned the importance of a new save file at the start of the video. On 360, the rocket caches are available much earlier for profiles at 100% of the game already. That's kind of unfair versus MCC players. The grind is worth it though, especially for the last encounter before Data Hive. I'll place it in A tier. Despite the ammo scarcity, the rocket launcher appears at the right times in the campaign. The rocket launcher appears on all maps except Lost Platoon. It's much more niche in Firefight. It's great for high value targets like wraiths, chieftains, and hunters, but that's really all you'd use it for. And it gets worse when tilt is on. As the rockets get worse versus shields, it synergizes less with the pistol. I'll place it in B. Even with the ammo packs, it should only fight high value targets and nothing else. The last campaign weapon is the Spartan Laser, and like the missile pod, this one was tricky to rank. Uplift Reserve is the first mission you get one, but you can just skip every wraith on this level. On NMPDHQ, the Blazer competes with the stationary missile pods. Only Alpha Sight is the one level that justifies a laser, taking out the hunters and high-ranking brutes with ease. If you want to play Uplift Reserve safe, however, the Blazer is the best option for the wraiths. And on NMPDHQ, it can kill Banshees without worrying about dodging. I'll give it B tier. It's similar to how I ranked Halo 3's Plasma Pistol. It's a solid option, but I feel it's almost unnecessary, with not many applications for needed use. Things couldn't be more different for Firefight though. The Spartan Laser only spawns on Lost Platoon and Security Zone, and it has one job: killing Wraiths. That sounds hyper-specialized, and it is, but that role is crucial. Wraiths are dangerously accurate, and will delete your lives if left unchecked. On Legendary, it takes 1 to 2 shots to kill a Wraith depending on the driver's rank. Thankfully, the Spartan Laser is another weapon improved by the Tilt Skull. It normally deals half damage to shields and solid armor, but with Tilt, double damage to shields and full damage to armor, consistently one-shotting Wraiths on sets 2 and 3. Mythic and Tilt at the same time returns it to a 2-shot. If you have spare Splazer shots, alternative targets include Choppers, Hunters, and Chieftains, but there's plenty of options for those, so focus on the Wraiths first. It can be difficult to carry the Splazer around in between Wraith drops. It does not pair well with the pistol, and if you ignore the laser for too long, it'll despawn. With how important the Wraith matchup is, I'm giving the laser A tier. It's a necessity on the maps it's on, but it struggles with the other elements of Firefight. The last 3 weapons are MCC Firefight exclusives. Asterisk. Starting with the Battle Rifle. It appears with boons on, and the Flood use it too. The Battle Rifle got some special treatment in MCC's ODST. It has its own damage type, Bullet Fast H3. It's the same as ODST's Bullet Fast, but it deals full damage to brute shields, 5 to 8 shotting them depending on the rank. It's analogous to the Carbine, a mid-range precision weapon that solos brutes. It has advantages over the Carbine and pistol. It's much better for large grunt squads, effortlessly slaughtering them. It's better against shielded jackals than the Carbine when Tilt is on, with the latter failing to ping jackals with one shot. All of this sounds like the BR is the best gun in Firefight, but there's significant downsides holding it back. The Tilt Skull adds a 75% damage penalty to brute shields. It's basically a second pistol. It can't tackle brutes on its own, but it's still a headshot machine. In this state, it's a good noob combo piece, exploiting the plasma weapon's shield stripping ability to get headshots on brutes and elites. Even before Tilt, using it this way is ideal to save ammo, which leads to my second point against the BR: ammo availability. Unlike the pistol, the BR ammo is limited to either human or Flood NPCs, or the weapon racks they spawn on. For most maps, it's just one rack holding 4 of them, with Lost Platoon holding a second rack with 2 extra. This isn't the biggest deal for solo play, as all the BRs belong to that one player. Things get more dire for co-op though, with BR ammo stretching thin, especially when there's 4 or more players in a match. This is why I greatly prefer the pistol over the BR. You start and respawn with max pistol ammo, and the pistol is already amazing as is. The BR is a strong A tier. It'd be S tier if there was more ammo for it, but that and the Tilt Skull greatly hold it back. The Sentinel Beam appears with the Sentinels and some Flood combat forms. It's just as deadly as Halo 3's, melting anything unfortunate enough to cross its path. Not only does it deal high damage, it shares the same melee damage type as the Brute Shot. This weapon quickly burns through its battery, which is a big downside, but pure Sentinel waves will drop so many Sentinel Beams, offsetting the weak battery. The Tilt Skull worsens the unshielded enemy matchup. Grunts, Jackals, and Brutes have a 75% damage resistance, and 66% for Elites and Sentinels. The Sentinel Beam will always be good against Flood though, dealing massive damage with the beam and melee attacks. Famine deals a heavy blow to the Sentinel Beam, making its weak battery even worse. I'll give the Sentinel Beam B tier. It's really powerful, but it chews through ammo quickly, can be rare at times, and the skulls hurt it, especially Famine. Our final weapon is the Energy Sword. To get one, you stick an elite with a plasma or spike grenade, and they'll pull out the sword before dying. Some Flood combat forms also carry it. The Energy Sword is at its best against the Flood. Kills only cost 2.5% of the battery, and every form dies in one hit. It's mediocre everywhere else. ODST directly nerfed the Energy Sword's damage. It went from 150 damage per swing to 100. This doesn't matter for the Flood, but Brutes and especially Elites require multiple swings to kill. It doesn't help that elites do not stagger in this game, so if you take their shields out with the sword, they'll still shoot and melee you. Kills against non-flood enemies also cost 10% battery, giving you less than 10 kills because you start with a less than full battery. The best way to use the sword is as a shield stripping melee weapon, hitting brutes and elites once or twice, backing off, then killing with headshots. The black eye skull is the one justification for this strategy, otherwise the traditional noob combo or the plasma rifle are better options. My final ranking is C tier for the energy sword. Its sheer dominance over the flood is what saves it from D tier. It's just so terrible against everything else. And that'll be it for this much longer than expected tier list video. Next time, we'll be tackling Halo Reach's campaign. I decided I won't do Firefight alongside campaign for Reach, as this video proved to be a much larger endeavor than I thought it would be. I found myself flip-flopping between campaign and firefight research, so splitting them up for Reach will let me put full dedication to each mode. Anyways, if and only if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, leave a comment on your own opinions of ODST's weapon sandbox, subscribe for more Halo content from this channel, and hit the bell to never miss an upload. I'd like to thank my patrons and my Needler Gang YouTube members for further supporting the channel. Thank you so much for your continued patronage, and I love you all. This is the Vengeful Vadim. Always remember that you matter more than you think you do, and I'll see you on the great journey.